Hey guys, I think most people they have no idea you can get the mortgage in Portugal remotely as the rest of the world. So I'm happy to meet Judith. She is an expert on the mortgage in Portugal. So I'd like to have her to explain the procedures and the qualifications to help you out to buy a property in Portugal. Hey Judith.
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And I think my audience would like to understand how to get the mortgage remotely. But traditionally, people think you have to be in Portugal to get all this process done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, previously that was the case, but now a couple of banks are working remotely with clients to help them facilitate the service.
So actually, you're a broker or just you're a loaner?
Yeah, exactly. I'm a broker.
Okay.
I've been working in mortgages in Portugal for nearly 25 years.
How many different banks you're working with right now?
I'm working with the majority of the banks in Portugal and some international banks and private banks as well.
So what is the role the broker plays how about the clients go to the bank directly to do this?
Yeah, sure, you can go directly yourself and there's no problem with doing that, but your personal circumstances may not work well with that particular bank. Whereas if you come to a broker or somebody like myself as well, we can help with the whole of market and look at what may be best for you and present you with several options, not just one.
What exactly they need? What kind of documentations they need?
Okay, so you would need a Portuguese tax number is quite important, but you need that when you're buying the property anyway. You need to take an ID card or a passport, proof of address in your home country, so normally a utility bill, proof of income, so if you're employed, a letter from your employer, last 3 months pay slips and tax returns from the last 2 to 3 years. And then bank statements as well. So they ask for 3 to 6 months bank statements and then the proof of the deposit so that you have between the difference of the purchase price and the mortgage you may be asking for.
So does Portuguese bank work with credit lines, or for example, if I qualify for 2 million credit line, so can I get one time so buy different property within that credit line?
So normally they do the underwriting per property. So they would look at seeing what your affordability was. We can look at that for you prior to meeting with the banks. We can do an affordability clarification check. We can obtain the simulations to see what's available to you.
Well, if I invest in certain properties over here in the U.S., I pay mortgage here, I receive rentals over here. It's a kind of a complicated situation. How the Portuguese banks identify my ability to pay back?
Okay, so they may look, some of them, at that being debts, but some of them look at it that if you have a tax return and you have that on a tax return and you present the rental contracts from here, then they look at the affordability so that you have at least enough money to satisfy the mortgages here, plus any new mortgage you may want in Portugal.
Okay, so back to the documentation. It sounds easier to get those documentation if you are employed or self-employed, right?
Yeah, I think employed is a little bit easier because self-employed is going to be more documentation heavy. So you're going to need to provide sort of your company accounts and company bank statements as well. So you have to do that. But always as well, you need to provide your own credit report from your home country. So you need to sign up to a company like Experian and download your report in a PDF format and send that to myself or to the banks.
So from previous experience, did you work with any Americans?
Yeah, I've dealt with many Americans, and that is really the majority of the clients I'm dealing with currently.
So what is the average credit scores qualified?
It's not so much a credit score in Portugal, it's something that they do look at, but it's more around the affordability. So what your income is currently, what your expenditure is in your home country, plus the new mortgage loan that you may want.
Okay. Sounds everything's very simple. So if I had ideal Portugal properties, so I can stay here to get the mortgage remotely when I'm sitting here, right?
Exactly, yes.
Basically, you have all these professional services, the providers that can get me done, right?
Yeah, we help with everything. So we've got contacts everywhere to help with every step of the process.
Yeah, what kind of fees you're going to charge for this kind of service?
The fees depend on each client's circumstances. It's case by case.
So how about the other countries? For example, in China, what kind of documentation? Similar documentation?
Yes, it would be similar. So, but obviously with somewhere like China, we would need the documentation to be translated.
Yeah, certified.
Yeah, exactly.
But U.S. documentation is going to be respected, right? So
yeah, exactly. We're very fortunate. The Portuguese banks, all of them, except anything that's in English.
So the English documentation is good, right?
Yeah,
you don't need
excellent.
the translation.
No, the Portuguese are very accommodating when it comes to the English language.
Okay. I heard that Americans enjoy some benefits from other countries, like besides EU residents. Americans enjoy a few benefits. For example, the rest of the world, they pay a down payment probably 30–40%, but U.S. passport holders get way less on the deposit. Is that true?
It depends.
It depends.
So if you haven't moved to Portugal yet, generally the percentage you have to put in is 30%.
Okay. So Americans don't have any advantage on that, right?
No.
No.
Unfortunately not.
So normally, if I had the mortgage approved, how many years? What is the validity?
Okay, so the term that you can have the mortgage over is up to 30 years.
30 years.
But the maximum age you can have it until is age 75.
So the mortgage has been approved, how long time I have to make the decision to purchase? Or does it last forever?
No, it doesn't last forever.
Okay.
Generally, when they give you a pre-approval, it's valid for a month.
Okay.
The reason being is that the Euribor changes every month.
Okay.
So that's why they have that on the submission form. It says for the next 30 days. But generally, when you then find the property and you start formally the process, once you have that approval, it can be valid to up to 3 months.
Okay.
It may be if it goes beyond that, they will ask for some of the documents to be updated, like the IRS and also the Experian report and the latest bank statement or pay slip. But generally, they can extend that for you. But I would say maximum 3 months.
3 months, you have to make the purchase.
To complete everything,
okay.
yes.
So can you give me an idea how much the interest rate right now?
Yeah, so with variable is around 3%, and if you wanted a mixed rate, as we call it, so part the term is fixed, say 3 to 5 years, we're looking at around 2.7%.
2.7?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy cheap.
Yeah, so it's a very good option to leave some of your money invested and to look at taking some funding from the bank, which you can always pay back at a later date.
You know, in the U.S., a lot of people are familiar to refinance a property or just cash out the property. Is that popular in Portugal?
It's not hugely popular. So it is something some of the banks will look at, but it's not as typical as here in the U.S.
Another experience I had, we had a client who bought a property with a rental, with a tenant in. So the bank saw this in a different way. They saw this as a negative. They would prefer empty properties. What is that?
Yeah, I mean, there is a very cautious attitude, more so than here in America for that type of lending. But it's not impossible, but they may look at it slightly differently with the terms and conditions.
Okay. I have asked all my questions.
Great.
Okay. Thank you so much, Juith.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.